All right, so we say welcome back to the studio. This is Lagos Talks 91.3 FM, and the program is The Conversation. Over the next, we're going to say like 20 minutes, but let's say around 18 minutes, thereabout or more, we will be analyzing the events that happened in the UK and what happened, what transpired, how did the distinguished Senator Ike Ekweremadu get caught up in this event, this twisted event, and what is the way out? Who is at risk? What does it really mean? We've spoken about how, he deserves it. Yes, they've pilfered. Yes, we know. There's no hospital in Nigeria. That's why he's gone there and he's been caught. Yes, we know. But beyond that, what is happening to him? How many people amongst us might be at risk? What is the likely outcome? Because a lot of times we complain about things or events, but we don't do the proper analysis. So when it turns out the way we do not expect, then we get more agitated, then we get less concerned, then we develop more hatred or disinterest in the nation, and then the nation plunges further. My name is Oluwa Kayode, and like the president of Nigeria who is in Portugal, I decided to take a trip all the way to Australia this morning to get a professor of law and to join us and have this analysis this morning. Joining me all the way from Australia is Dr. Supo Owoeye. He's a professor of law at Leeds City University in Ibadan and also a law academic at Central Queensland University in Australia. Dr. Owoeye, good morning and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Kayode. Thank you for having me.
Great. And what time is it over there now? That should be like 6 p.m. or is it 7?
It's actually 20 minutes to 7 p.m.
20 minutes to 7 p.m. Wow. Okay.
6:40 p.m.
Okay. So I'm in between. Anyway, thank you for joining us, for being with us at this time. And we won't talk about Australia because we don't have much time. Let's just go straight to the events that are happening now. We've all heard of the Modern Slavery Act 2015, its limitations and the pressure it puts and what it demands. We might not be able to go into it in details today because of the time, but what really does that mean for a Nigerian who wants to go there? What is the content and what are the things to watch out for in that act?
Very good, thank you. That's a very important point. Essentially, it is a legislation designed to prevent different forms of exploitative activities and conduct affecting people, human beings. And it's meant to prevent slavery. That's why it's called the Modern Slavery Act. Servitude, forced labor, human trafficking. And when we talk of human trafficking, people may think it's just about probably trafficking people for sex trade or sexual exploitation, but it's actually much wider than that. It covers things like slavery and servitude, which means if someone picks up, let's say, a cousin or even anyone at all who has volunteered to work for them, and they want to take them overseas to maybe work for them as a domestic help, which many Africans tend to think is a regular thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah, they may actually run into serious legal issues if that person should report them, that they've been transported, they've been brought to the country for the purpose of actually working as a domestic help maid or servant. That would actually be in flagrant violation of the Modern Slavery Act 2015 of the UK. And Section 2 of that legislation is very explicit on that. Now, the one that actually affects the senator is removal of organs, which is also a form of offense of human trafficking under that act. So when you look at Section 2 of the Modern Slavery Act 2015, it makes it an offense for any person to arrange or facilitate the process of moving someone to the UK with a view to exploit that person. And it goes further to say that it is irrelevant whether that person consents to the travel or not. It is also irrelevant whether that person is a minor or an adult. So it doesn't really matter that the person has agreed to say to the request or the arrangement for the international travel. That is immaterial. The fact that you say you can prove that they were not forced to come, they actually agreed to come, that is not an excuse. If you look at Section 2, subsection 2 of the Modern Slavery Act, it is very explicit on that. Their consent to the travel is immaterial. And it becomes an offense punishable under UK law once there is a part of that arrangement that is to be implemented or executed in the UK. And that is the import of Section 2, subsection 7 of that legislation. Now, it says that once they are taken to the UK for the purpose of exploitation, which involves removal of human organ, amongst other things, it can also be sexual exploitation. It can also be slavery or servitude, like you trying to get someone to work as a domestic help. Now, you would probably begin to wonder, what if you compensate? However, what you this person some handsome reward, and they agree to it.
Before you go into that now, you've used the word exploitation repeatedly, and you're saying that it doesn't matter the age of the person, whether he's 15 or 21. It doesn't matter that he has agreed to even go and do it willingly. And so with what you're saying now, it means that the fate of Senator is not sealed, like many are saying that the process started, because I've heard lawyers saying it started in Nigeria, therefore it most likely be repatriated. You're saying as long as there's a part of the law, the contract that will be executed in the UK, it becomes punishable according to UK laws. Now, that
is correct, under Section 2, subsection 7 of the Modern Slavery Act.
Okay, great. Now, you've used the word exploitation. What really is exploitation? Because if I can consent and I'll be allowed to read, what is the exploitation in that?
Very good. Now, in fact, the Act defines what exploitation for the purposes of removal of organs is under Section 3, subsection 4 of that Act. And basically, it regards exploitation as a process whereby someone has agreed to donate their organ for reward.
For reward?
Yes, for compensation.
Okay.
So basically, that means they're exploiting that person. So if the law is that anyone who is to be a donor should do so voluntarily. And it must be unpaid. However, it is acceptable to cover the cost of movement, transportation of the person, or medical cost for going through that process, surgery. Thank you.
All right, but with what you said now, would it be fair? And I'm not talking about Senator Ekweremadu alone here. I'm talking about the Act. Will it be fair to apply that to Nigeria? I know it's a law, you can't do anything about it really, but I'm just talking hypothetically here, knowing that there is a huge cultural difference. We come from a part of the world where if I do something for you, though it's willingly, I will expect that at least be a gentleman and say thank you. To the extent that when people help you out and you don't appreciate them in a particular manner, they go, that guy is very ungrateful. So if he explains that my culture, it was done willingly, but my culture doesn't allow me to take his organ, particularly an organ, without helping him or the family, can that stand in court?
Now, that is a very good point. The UK law in question does not have any application in Nigeria. So this law is enforceable only in the UK. The Modern Slavery Act 2015 is a UK legislation that has no power whatsoever under Nigerian law. Now, the problem here is that the senator is in the UK and is bound by UK law because he is on English soil. Now, it doesn't mean the position is completely hopeless for the senator, because under UK law, once there is a case of conspiracy as we have here, and a person is to be charged for a conspiracy involving a foreign element, in the sense that the act was partially done overseas, then the Attorney General's consent must be obtained. It is a procedural requirement for criminal litigation in the United Kingdom. And that is what they are trying to obtain now to proceed with the trial. And the question of whether this would amount to an offense in Nigeria would be a relevant consideration. So they will look into whether this would be an offense in Nigeria. Ordinarily, forcing people to donate their organs would be an offense in Nigeria, even though we do not have an equivalent of the modern day legislation. But you cannot. There are constitutional rights that guarantee the fundamental rights of people, and you can essentially not force people to donate their organs. So the important question under Nigerian law would be whether there was consent and whether this person was of full age.
Okay.
Now there is a little bit of controversy as to the age of the
boy in question, yes, of the young man in question.
Yes, that's very right. The evidence from Nigeria shows that the man is, he claims to be a minor, a 15-year-old, but the evidence from Nigeria shows this is a 22-year-old, and they seem to have strong support for that. So that is going to be a little bit of a challenge, convincing the UK court to accept the Nigerian evidence. But I actually believe a confirmation from the National Population Commission indicating the age of the donor would be highly regarded by the UK court. But that does not still exonerate the senator, because it will still come to whether the donor was brought to the UK in an exploitative way, which means basically was offered a reward. They may be able to make a case for the jurisdiction point.
Okay.
They may be able to make a case, but I think it is still going to be a rather weak case. The crucial point here is whether the Attorney General consents or not, really. It comes to the discretion of the Attorney General. If the Attorney General gives permission for the matter to proceed, it will proceed, and they will have a case under Section 2, subsection 7.
All right. So with that now, knowing that it now needs the political, I dare say, appui, like we say in French.
Diplomatic.
We say, So exactly where I was going to that. Since the political angle is the Attorney General's consent, now can we apply diplomatic force to say, listen, leave this senator for us to come home? Would that be an illegal move to make by Nigerian government?
Very good question. Diplomatic pressures are politically motivated, and they are allowed. And I wouldn't call that illegal. Of course, it is not expected that the process would be abused. You don't use diplomatic power in an abusive manner. In this case, it's a little bit difficult to say it would be an abuse of power for the government to seek to actually lend some support to the senator, given the fact that we have evidence from Nigeria that the donor is a full adult and was acting voluntarily. And he suddenly changed the story in the UK. But certainly, if the prosecution should proceed in the UK, I think the only way the senator would be able to prove and establish his innocence, showing that the person is an adult, is actually not enough to prove his innocence, as alleged by some commentators. They will have to show that it was not exploitative, in the sense that there was no financial or other reward offered, that it's voluntary, and all they covered was the cost of moving him to the UK and the medical and the medical bill.
All right. So now, wrapping this up, if the Senator Ekweremadu was meant to appear on the 7th of August of July, but suddenly yesterday he appeared in court. What could have happened there? Is that diplomatic pressure come into play?
Possibly, but the matter is still not going forward. because they are still waiting for that consent to be given.
Yeah.
Now, diplomatic intervention could actually end the whole process. Very, very. If that, but that would be subject to the UK government accepting the arrangement with the Nigerian government, and even without a significant diplomatic influence, it is possible for the Attorney General to still review the facts and conclude that there was no need to grant consent. So it comes to it basically falls on the Attorney General to decide if the United Kingdom government would prosecute this matter or not. But looking at the law, really, if the Attorney General consents, it becomes a valid trial.
Okay, so now looking at the law, most people are focused on Ike Ekweremadu and how he's falling foul of the law. And I understand, knowing how angry a lot of us are at how the system is not working. Like you're rightly saying, the law is meant for activities that happen in the UK. If we had a hospital that a lot of politicians could rely on, they could have easily done that here and nobody will even flinch. You'll even have 200 people saying, "Abeg, take my hugger, give me some money, let me use it." And, and we don't have any law preventing that here. So we understand that bit. But now on the side of the guy, now the facts that are coming out seems to be pointing more towards the direction of 21. That is, and before your statement is taken, you must have been warned that, I mean, you're swearing under oath, kind of. I don't know if that's the term legal the lawyers use. Yes. So, if swearing under oath, you now tell a lie that you're 15, whereas every other thing points to the fact that you're above 21, what happens to him? Is it possible that you can say, okay, Senator Ekweremadu, we won't try this case, you go back home, but for lying under oath, we're charging you for this and that, you're serving a term here in prison in the UK to the guy, Oppo. Is that possible? I see you're laughing.
That is a very important. I mean, that's a very good question. Now, when you give evidence or not, basically it's called perjury. I mean, if you give false evidence, false evidence or not, it's called perjury.
Perjury,
that person will be said to have perjured. Now, if it is found that this person really lied, it will come to a question of whether the office of the Crown Prosecutor is interested in actually taking the matter up. Sometimes, for public policy reasons, so as not to discourage other people from making reports, they may exercise a discretion not to even take any action against them.
Okay.
So that they do not scare others who may want to come and report matters to them. When you begin to prosecute reporters or whistleblowers, as they are called sometimes, you may run into the trouble of having fewer people willing to really lodge complaints and report cases that are deserving of prosecution.
All right.
Now, I doubt if that's going to happen, to be honest. And even if it should happen, perjury is not always a very easy offense to establish. Okay. Because when you make oath, you are saying that you genuinely believe to the best of your knowledge.
Okay.
So if they actually find your evidence to be untrue, the question would be, did you knowingly give that false information?
Yeah.
So if you can show that even though it's not entirely correct,
okay,
it was your genuine belief at the time you gave the evidence.
All right. So that is a bit shaky. It's not certain. Now, on a lighter note and wrapping up with this, Now, a lot of media houses have called him, he's a diplomat and was arrested. I know that at his level, he's an official. Because I know that in Nigeria, I think we have 3 passports. The green for people like myself and my colleague Adeomi Oshodi in the studio. I'm sure big men like you might be using another color. I know we have red and I think blue or so, but one is for diplomats and one is for official. In his capacity, is he a diplomat or an official of the government? And can he be arrested?
He is not a member of any diplomatic mission. He is a legislator. He is a senator of the Federal Republic. So he has no immunity. And he certainly can be arrested under the law. And that is beyond any dispute of
Great. It's good that it's established. So let's stop calling him a diplomat. How can they arrested a diplomat? He's not a Nigerian diplomat. It might just be a semantics, but it matters a lot. Thank you so much, Professor Supo Owoeye, all the way from Australia. And well, we will come look for you Nigerians when we get the right candidate, whoever it is. We'll bring you all back home to come and contribute to nation building.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. It's been nice talking to you and sharing views on this topic with you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much for that. All right, listeners, this is where, and viewers on YouTube, this is where we'll end the conversation today. It's been wonderful. We've learned a bit more about what happened in UK.